Barça is preparing for an absolutely wild summer because Hansi Flick has reportedly already told Deco which signings he sees as priorities to turn FC Barcelona into the most feared team in Europe. And watch out, because some of the names are completely unexpected. Today we're going to talk, for example, about Julián Álvarez and João Pedro, very important players who could be perfect for Barça. And above all, also about a signing that the club considers the most important one of the summer. But I'm also going to tell you which players could leave, because Barça needs a real overhaul. And no, not everyone is going to survive. It's impossible. There's tension, there are moves, and there are very complicated deals, but they will get done. Stay calm. Because if Flick gets what he wants, watch out for this team. Club Barcelona 2627. So go ahead and leave a like right now, because one of the craziest videos of the summer is coming up. And subscribe, because here at Barça Hoy, we tell you absolutely everything that happens in the Barça world before anyone else. And as you already know, Hansi Flick is delighted with several things about the team. He likes Pedri, he loves Lamine Yamal, and you can see he has a totally special connection with Gabi. He likes his defense, he trusts Gerard Martin, he trusts Pau Cubarsí. And he truly believes that Barça has a really incredible foundation with a potential that only a few teams in Europe can match. But he also thinks that the team is still far from dominating Europe. He wants to win the Champions League. Flick believes that Barça is lacking a bit in physicality. They lack depth, they lack forcefulness, and above all, they lack the ability to intimidate their opponent at certain moments in the match. They lack the ability to overwhelm the opposing team because right now, no one is afraid to face Barça, or very few teams are. And Flick wants to change that. Flick wants to be the new Bayern. Flick wants to be the new Arsenal. He wants to be one of those teams that everyone talks about and everyone is afraid when they talk about them. Flick wants to change that. The German coach wants a team capable of pressing high for 90 minutes, a vertical Barça, an aggressive Barça. A Barça with fast, powerful players who thrive on the counter-attack with a killer mentality. And that's why he has already asked for very specific reinforcements that I'm going to tell you about right now. And pay close attention, because there's a position that within Barça, inside the club, they say there's one name they see as the absolute priority. We're talking about a striker. We're talking about a player who could change the recent history of FC Barcelona. You already know that Barça will not continue next season. And now the name Julián Álvarez is being linked more strongly than ever. Yes, the forward from Atletico de Madrid. And we're not talking about mere interest. We're talking about a player who completely fascinates Flick. But of course, even from Julián Álvarez's own circle, people are saying that he could end up signing for FC Barcelona. Why does Julián Álvarez fit perfectly into Hans Klopp's idea? Why could he be a great addition for Barça? A player who presses high, a lot of mobility, a lot of aggressiveness, of course with a great goal-scoring ability, he's intense, and he's excellent in defensive work. Flick believes that Julián can become the complete striker for the new Barça. A footballer capable of pressing like crazy, but also of deciding big matches, important matches, a Champions League semi-final, a Champions League final. The problem? Atletico hasn't given in yet. They keep referring to the release clause. And Barça, as you know, is currently in a delicate situation. That room on the wage bill freed up by Robert Lewandowski is perfect for signing the ideal striker, who in my opinion should be Julián Álvarez. But within Barça, there are those who think that if the player puts on the pressure, the whole thing could happen. The deal could really heat up. Of course, he's a player who generates excitement, a player I'm sure would walk into the locker room and be welcomed with open arms. Imagine for a moment Lamine Yamal on the right, Pedri threading passes, Julián Álvarez attacking spaces, Rafinha giving it his all, pressing, and also scoring goals with Julián. And of course, suffocating the opponent with that pressing, precisely with the help of Julián Álvarez. That would be absolutely insane. Share your thoughts on this signing in the comments. But watch out, it's not just Julián Álvarez. Barça needs a reliable striker, and in case things with Julián don't work out, they're perfectly covering their bases. There's another striker they really like, João Pedro, a very young and talented footballer from Chelsea. A footballer who is also considered perfect for the attacking rotation and, why not say it, to be Barca's complete striker. João Pedro has something that Hansi Flick loves, and that's his mobility, his technique, his dribbling, his ability to link up with teammates, and as I said, he's a super versatile player. He can play as a striker, as a false nine, as a second forward, and even drift out wide. And that drives the German coach crazy, who knows exactly what his Barca needs. The problem? Well, the financial drama. And of course, Chelsea isn't going to give the player away either. Barca is still limited by financial fair play, like I said, even with that departure, right? With Robert Lewandowski leaving, they'll be a bit closer to being able to sign players without any financial obstacles. That's why Flick is working on creative solutions. Hey, maybe a possible loan, a payment in installments, a swap deal, meaning including another player in the equation to lower the transfer fee. Because Flick insists, I want more firepower up front. And we need to bring in a reliable striker. A striker who scores goals easily. But pay close attention. Be careful. Because there's a deal that's moving quietly behind the scenes. As of today, there's a signing being negotiated that could also change FC Barcelona. And it's not a striker. This time we're talking about a midfielder. And within Barca, they believe he could become one of the big opportunities of the summer. Because we're talking about a world-class footballer with experience, with leadership, with outstanding quality. And above all, the best part is he would arrive completely free. Yes, sir, free. A player whose contract is ending and who has had Barca enamored for years. In fact, it's not the first time the club has tried to sign him. Because they were already very close, very close to signing him. And in the end, that signing fell through. And there's something that has driven the Barca fans completely crazy. The famous images, posing with the Barca jersey. Yes, sir, that moment is still going around on social media. And although it's true that more than one person has already said, look, if he hasn't come by now, he's never going to come. This player could be very close to Barca, because many believe that the signing was never actually finalized here. But the player never forgot the idea of wearing the Blaugrana jersey. The problem is that as of today, Atletico de Madrid has gotten fully involved in the deal, and Simeone wants to get ahead of Barca. Because they believe it would be an incredible signing to raise the team's competitive level. Right now, the decision is up in the air. Barca or Atletico, Flick or Simeone. And the player is Bernardo Silva. Yes, once again, Bernardo Silva appears on FC Barcelona's radar. And watch out, because this time it might finally happen.